Okay, let's talk about something every single student has felt. That sinking feeling when you study for hours and hours, only to feel like it all just disappears when you need it most. It's so frustrating. You know the drill, right? You spend a whole night reading a chapter, you make beautiful notes, and you feel like you've really got it down. But then, fast forward a day or two, and it's already kind of fuzzy. And by exam time, it's like you're seeing it for the very first time. That feeling can crush your confidence. But here's the thing, there's a really specific reason it happens. And this is so important, so listen up. You are not bad at studying. You've probably just been using a flawed method this whole time, one that actually works against the way your brain is built to learn. So to figure out the solution, we first have to really understand the problem. And this problem, what actually has a name. It's called the forgetting curve. And it's a scientific principle that explains the shocking speed at which our brains dump new information. Now, this number might sting a little bit. Research shows that if we don't actively reinforce what we've learned, we can forget up to 80% of it in a single day. I'm going to say that again, 80%. And this is the trap, isn't it? We get so focused on covering more material, getting through more chapters, reading more pages. We tell ourselves, oh, I'll revise it all later. But by the time later comes, the information is gone, and you're basically starting from square one. The real key isn't about learning more, it's about forgetting less.
All right, so let's call out the main culprit behind all this forgetting. It's probably the most common study technique on the entire planet, and, you guessed it, one of the least effective. I'm talking about passively rereading your notes in textbooks.
This quote right here gets to the absolute heart of the problem. See, when you reread something, your brain gets this warm, comfortable feeling of familiarity. You recognize the words, sure, but that feeling is tricking you. It gives you a false sense of mastery when you haven't actually remembered it at all. And here's the perfect way to think about the difference. If I showed you a 50 rupee note, you'd recognize it instantly. That's familiarity. It's passive, it's easy. But what if I asked you to draw that same note from memory, to recall every little detail? You'd probably draw a blank, right? That difficulty, that struggle to pull the information out of your brain, that is recall. And that is real learning. So, how do we get out of that passive recognition trap and into powerful recall? We use our first brain hack, and it's an absolute game changer for studying. It's called active recall. To put it really simply, it just means you're forcing your brain to pull information out instead of just letting information flow in. You're not just rereading, you're actively testing yourself. So what does this look like in the real world? Well, you could close your book and try to explain a concept out loud to an empty room. Or you could jump straight into practice questions, even before you feel 100% ready. And hey, here's a pro tip for you. Don't test yourself in the same order as the textbook. Mix it up. Scramble the order of the questions. That unpredictability makes your brain work harder and builds a much stronger memory. And here's why it works. That feeling of effort, that moment where you struggle to remember a fact or a formula, that's not a sign you're failing, it's the exact opposite. It's the process of memory building in action. You're literally sending a powerful signal to your brain that says, hey, this piece of information is important, store it somewhere safe for later. Okay, our next brain hack is all about tackling another huge problem for students, perfectionism. We've all been there, right? You get stuck on one topic and you refuse to move on until you know it perfectly, and it just kills all your momentum.
So I want you to burn this number into your brain, 70%. This is your new goal for any single study session.
The rule is just this. When you're studying a chapter, don't try to master it all at once. If you feel like you've got about 70% of it down, that's good enough. Move on to the next thing. Why? Because coming back to it tomorrow with a fresh brain is way more efficient. Relearning is fast, and you'll solidify that last 30% much easier than if you just kept grinding away today.
I mean, just look at the difference. The perfectionist crams, gets super stressed out, and ends up with really poor long-term retention. But the 70% strategist spreads out their effort, feels way less stress, and builds a much stronger, more permanent memory. It's about playing the long game.
All right, now for those of you who are really serious about boosting your scores, I've got a bonus tip for you. This is a simple but an incredibly powerful tool for that final push before an exam. Let's talk about the mistake book.
Here's how you do it. First, you get a notebook. Any notebook. And every single time you take a practice test or quiz yourself, and you notice a topic you always get wrong or a mistake you keep making, you write it down. Just the topic name or the page number, that's it. This book becomes your personal hyper-focus list of all your weaknesses. And then, in the final hours before the big exam, this is the only thing you review.
And don't sleep on this technique. Seriously, systematically finding and fixing your weak spots like this can make a real, measurable difference in your final grade. We're talking a potential boost of 5 to 10%. That's the definition of studying smarter, not just harder.
So there you have it. We've talked about the rereading trap, the power of active recall, the 70% rule, and your new secret weapon, the mistake boot. These aren't just ideas, they're actual strategies you can start using tonight. So the only question left is, which one are you going to try first?